Alright guys, how you doing? I'm Darren Taylor, and welcome back to Into the Kitchen. Like I said in my video last night, I'm probably not going to have actually time to cook today. If I have time later on and I'm able to go out and get some ingredients, then I'll maybe just do a simple dish. I actually did cook earlier on, but I didn't have someone to help me out with the video and actually recording it. I made a tomato and basil tagliatelle with parmesan cheese. It was very, very, very nice. There is a photo on my Facebook which will be up in the blog. I haven't had a lot of time to work on the blog site, however, just once I get the time to actually sit and fiddle about with it, we're going to get some stuff up. So today, instead of cooking, it's going to be more of a cookery lesson, a very important concept I'm going to go over for people who are looking to be cooks or chefs, or just to improve their cooking at home. This is seasoning, and it is very, very important in cooking. If I'm honest, it's probably one of the most important things. So let's just kick right into it. So what is seasoning? Seasoning is the process of actually improving the flavour of food and flavouring it itself, adding flavour. If food is not seasoned correctly, or it isn't seasoned, it's bland, it's tasteless, and first and foremost, it's boring. Now, serving that in a restaurant, you're looking for flavour, you're looking for some excitement, so you're going to need to learn the art of seasoning. There are four main types of seasoning, four main categories, however there are others. First one is saline seasoning. Now this is seasoning with salt. The difference between seasoning with salt and any other ingredient is that salt doesn't actually flavour the food. What it does is, it intensifies the flavour of the ingredient. So for example, an onion with the salt is going to make the onion's flavour shine more. So the salt doesn't flavour the food unless it's put in at the end. Now, unless you cook with salt, if you cook with the salt, you're not going to get that salty taste. If you put that salt in at the end to season, which some people do, they're just going to get a salty taste. Now, that's not always a problem. If you're having a bag of chips, some salt, some vinegar, you're going to get that salt and vinegar taste. That's fine. But dishes are going to want excitement. Proper cooking is going to need some excitement, and salt just simply doesn't have enough of that to put across. Also, judging the right amount of salt that you use. If you use too much salt, even in cooking, it's going to taste salty. Even when you cook with the salt, it's going to taste salty. So you need to be able to judge the right amount, and the only way you can do that is by tasting, is by actually getting into the kitchen, doing it, and get the hang of actually judging it, how much you're putting in. The next kind of seasoning is acidic seasonings, or acid seasoning. Now, acid seasoning comes from acid fruits and citrus fruits like lemon, lime, orange, and also comes from vinegars as well. Plain vinegar is very sharp, very acidic. Red wine vinegar, cider vinegar, white wine vinegar. So all these things, they're quite acidic. Now, while saline seasoning brings out the flavour, it doesn't actually flavour it. Acid seasoning is different than that. Acid seasoning actually puts in flavour, it adds flavour, it gives it a taste. Now, acid seasonings can be quite sharp. If you were to take a bite of a lemon and suck the juice out of it, it's going to be really sharp. It's going to be either really, really sweet or really, really sour. Now, if something is too sweet or it's too sour, you can actually use these tastes to balance out each other. So for example, let's say I put lemon juice in a dish and I taste it and it's too sharp. Now, if it tastes really sour, which a lemon is, because it's 5 to 6% of acidity, making it taste sour, you can balance it out with a little bit of sugar. So you can balance them out a little bit. However, it's better just to be able to judge it first time. They can be overpowering, they can be strong, so you need to taste as you go along. Don't just add a shit lot in and expect it to work. Add and taste, and remember that you can always add in, but you can never take out. So that's a little bit on on your acidic seasonings. There's another two to go over. The next is hot seasonings. Now these cover your peppers and your spices. Now they are also a lot like acidic seasonings, apart from the acidity in them, is the fact that they're strong. They can be overpowering if they're used. If you have a dish that's just covered with spice, now even if the spice in itself is good, if it's too overpowering, if you have too much in, they're not going to get the proper flavour. You're just going to get this explosion in your mouth. And it's the same with pepper as well. You put in too much pepper, it's overpowering, it makes you cringe. It's so much like the same as acidic. If you put in too much, you're going to get that same result. So, you know, they're good for adding flavours, and particularly hot flavours. You know, they make things spicy. Now, to me, this refers quite highly to your Indian cooking. Indian cooking is, you know, it's generally spicy. Now, it's not so spicy that you don't taste it, you know, it's too overpowering. It's spicy enough that you get the flavours, and that's what this is all about. It's about getting that strong, hot flavours in, but not making them overpowering. So again, it's all about tasting and judging and being able to, you know, find out in yourself how to get these out, how to judge on what's going to be too spicy. And the only way you're going to do that is by actually fucking doing it. So the last one is saccharine seasoning. Now this is with like sugar and honey. It's generally used in sweets. For example, a rhubarb crumble, when you're stewing down the rhubarb, you're going to use it with sugar, and you're not going to use it with salt like you would if you were boiling something else or stewing something else. The honey, you know, can be used for glazing a gammon, you know, it's a way of seasoning. So these are mainly, you know, your sugar seasonings, and they usually are quite sweet. It's good for adding sweetness to food as well. So that's your four main types of seasoning. There is a lot more that comes into seasoning, and the only way you're going to be efficient with it is by doing it, by learning what works well together. For example, tomato and basil works very, very, very well, and mushrooms and parsley, they work very, very well. And the only way you're going to do this is by doing your research and by actually doing it, by getting in the kitchen, putting on the stove, and actually cooking, and, you know, getting to know, you know, try out different things. If it turns out shit, it turns out shit. You know, at least you've tried. Only way to get efficient is just to go and get the experience. And also is to try different things. To try working, you know what, I'm going to try this with that, or I'm going to try that with this, you know. Mix and match. And no, read up on it. Read up on what works well together. You know, the internet is a very, very wide place. You're going to find pretty much anything you need on it. So that, you know, to become efficient, you need to do it, you need to learn it. And also, don't just learn your seasonings, learn your ingredients. Learn how to season them properly with what. You know, for example, a steak. Salt, coarse pepper, oil, you know, that's your seasoning. But is it? Because you could do it the way that Marco P.R. White does it. And put more flavour into it with a beef stock pot. You know, there are many different ways to season. And the only way you're going to do that is by doing your own experiments and getting your own experience. So overall, to give food taste, you've got to season it. And flavour gives the dish its distinct taste. And that's how we identify good dishes, is by their flavour and by their taste. So this is just I suppose you could say, a quick video on seasoning. I hope it's helped you guys. You know, feel free to add in your own points, send me a message if there's anything I've missed out, and if there's anything you want to ask, you know, feel free to leave a comment. All subscribers are appreciated. I've noticed we're starting to build up a little bit on it now, so I can't complain. Likes, comments, messages are all appreciated, guys. Anyway, I'll maybe make another video later on if I do get around to cooking something. If not, well, most likely will be tomorrow. I'm sure I'll think of something for it to cook. Anyway, guys, enjoy your day and stay tuned. I'll be more up soon.